I know. So I thought Say, guy. Oh, I'm all right. I'm gonna move there. Yeah, let's play family. I'm gonna go around. Okay. So, I'm pulling up the
All right, we'll get started. We've got a lot to go through here before the presentation. So, first off, I don't see any, you're an existing member. Okay. I don't see the new faces, so I'll skip through kind of our normal. We're not gonna go through all the regular events. We'll get to fishing reports later. Jambalaya challenge, Brad and I are now tied at first. And Ben is in solo second. We have a tie at third. So it's getting pretty competitive up there at the top. I think cooler weather is getting more people out. So still plenty of time left to submit stuff all the way through the end of November. So Concordia, does somebody want to give a trip report on the warm water trip? Randy?
Actually, it turned out to be a lot better than I thought it would be, in that we were able to catch more brim than what we normally catch on an October trip. And we had over, for the collective of chiefs, we had over 75 and 80 brim collectively for the fish fry. Wow. And then, of course, we had the limb lines and so forth. But not only that, where's Murray? Did Murray come over? Murray's over here. Yeah, Murray brought half the people there, and it was a good crowd, and I think everybody there had a good time, Murray.
Great time.
And while that being a lot of an eating meeting as much as it was a fishing meeting.
That's why the fish held up so well up there, because we had so many other things to eat. They brought a lot of.
So, but it was a great trip. The weather was perfect. No rain or anything like that. Might have been a little bit warmish for October, but still. And I think the go-to fly was a white Concordia special.
Those fish.
Not right, but whatever he said, you know. Yeah. Well, still, you can listen to what he says for, like, you know what you should have been fishing with, the black Concordia.
Y'all fishing anything else?
That's it. I fished one of the brown and orange books as well.
All right, and then Rio Rumble, I wasn't there, but David won first place. I think Brad came in unofficial second. I'll give a full podium, but Red Stick won again. So if anybody was there wants to give the full report, I just have the headline, but congratulations.
Yeah, I think we pulled out the top 3 spots.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Wow.
us three caught
Yeah.
53% of all fish.
Oh, wow.
I caught 60, Brad caught 51, and you
Damn.
caught 36.
Did
y'all eat all the
tilapia?
Did
y'all
eat the tilapia?
That was just real.
Yeah, that was just real. That was
I looked at, everybody else averaged 3. Like, you know.
That's how they got to be so invasive down there. If they were here, it would stand.
Yeah, I think tilapia definitely invaded the canals. I think I ended up with like 14 tilapia.
Oh, bro.
It didn't count, but it's still fun. I know you probably, didn't you, I know Brad also gets a little bit.
So what y'all, what y'all get from?
Secret.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you how they Imps, and, the water worm, the balanced water worm.
I caught mine on chartreuse.
On- you were supposed to, right?
I kind of held off on that.
Now, wait a minute.
Did the New Orleans guys?
It's easy just buy it, just a feed head on
They didn't.
What was Sean? I know Sean caught a big fish. What was that? Was it down there?
It was, over 9 inches.
Yeah.
I think my biggest was 8.5. And, he was like 9.5, I don't know. What is it?
It was windy, it was like 25 miles.
Hmm.
Sustained.
You were in a ditch.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there was no, it was like, there was.
yeah, all the
it was like
gone.
2 foot.
Wait a second,
Yeah.
wait a second, no water, wind, you dab them, you dab that. Yeah, no water, y'all, where else they gonna go?
Congratulations again, and then I know the fundraising event too, I think, did they give a big check to
Yeah,
Captain for
so I
recovery?
think they ended up, like also, we talked about the rods, they gave like
Mhm.
15 rod setups and they donated $900.
Okay, great. So yeah, it all went to casting for recovery, so they got all their rod and reel set up, so they'll be able to use them going forward.
So David, how many participants do they have in
It
there?
was 45.
And when was this, last weekend or weekend before?
Then we get some quarter.
Yeah.
45, wow.
Yeah, the time has never worked out for me to go to that thing.
Mhm.
One time I was like, oh, I'm going, and I was like, okay. Maybe just try to.
And then, quick, update on anyone that was at National Hunting and Fishing Day, Joe or David?
There were 6 of us, I believe,
Oh, wow.
there, but 4 of us did tying and Philippe and Mike Myers were casting folk.
Okay,
So, we gave out a lot of cards, gave out flies, to the kids mostly.
Yeah.
Gary was tying safety pins so the kids
ah, good idea.
could tie their, or attach their spider to the shirt,
Awesome.
but it was
You're gonna go.
good.
From my perspective, it was one of the most successful hunting and fishing days they've ever had. An amazing crowd of parents and all age kids. And that, to me, that's the most exciting thing when Believe was out there with teenagers down to 6 or 7 years old, learning to do it for the first time. So it's really a worthwhile effort, and thanks to Joe for putting everybody out there.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
And I think what RSFF Flyfish's name was well rehearsed and well taken out there, so.
Great.
Look forward to next year.
Yeah, great. And then kind of in that vein, someone reached out to us or me through the contact us form on the website at Episcopal High School, November 13th. I think that's a Thursday night. I volunteered some of us to be there. I can be there. Their STEAM night, which I guess is science, technology, whatever kind of acronym, but they have an LDWF, a fisheries biologist that's going to be there. And they wanted somebody to do some like casting and or tying. So like I said, I can be there, somebody else, to volunteer and bring a rod or two and do some casting.
It was a typo, it was a mistake night.
Oh, no. I wouldn't be advertising on that, no, hey, invited my invite. All right, well, yeah, so I'll reach out closer to it, to a smaller group and,
When is that?
the November 13th, I think it's a Thursday night, I think. At Episcopal High School. anybody lives close by. Leeville trips in a couple
2
weeks,
weeks.
2 weeks.
A little less than 2 weeks. 2 weekends, not this coming weekend, but the following. Right now, we've got a head count of 9 people, which is a little less than average. The last couple of years, we've had 12,
Mhm.
11 or 12. But the good news is there's still 4 rooms available from what's his name. I told him don't hold anything for us because I sent out the email telling everybody they need to sign up if they want to go. But he said they did have 4 more rooms available. If anybody wanted to go. The other thing he told me, he said the redfish are biting like crazy.
Okay.
I don't need to hear about what's happening this week. I need to find
Yeah,
out
that's
about what's happening.
It's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better.
That word's spoken.
All
Take it for what it's worth.
right. The rooms are available if anybody else is interested.
It's
And that's Boudreaux's, right? The name of the place?
Boudreaux's Motel in Leeville.
So yeah, Boudreaux's Motel in Leeville,
Oh,
if anybody else
one more
wants to get a
thing,
room.
Somebody sent me when I sent out that first email, they said that the pass to get across the bridge to go to Grand Isle is like 20 something.
With a boat trip.
With a trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's hitting you.
yeah.
So.
That's why I quit going to Green.
There's a free launch in Leeville. I mean, if you don't have to go down that far, there's a launch there. Go south.
Yeah, that's where it's at, the launch, right around the corner from the
Mhm.
place it stays.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go over the gas and box before you pay.
To do like David, drive through, they never send you the bill.
So they send you the bill.
They are.
Um,
For everybody.
one quick note, looking ahead to next year, I emailed out an email to all the board members and a few other folks that are maybe potential board members. If anybody didn't get it, let me know, but if anyone who hasn't contacted me already, wants to, give up their board position, switch board positions, or has an idea they want to nominate somebody for any position, just let me know. I'll try to get the slate of positions out for the next meeting. That way we can do a vote on it. And then meeting location, the library, it said they're taking applications in late November for next year. So I'll have Chris send out a poll. I've gotten some feedback from some folks about maybe, different library branches that might be better than others. So I'll have Chris send out a survey type thing, and we'll just kind of get the consensus from anybody. And
I
see what
will
the best
say
option is.
from my limited experience, this has been a good location.
Mhm.
Simply because it's kind of, I guess, halfway for you guys and though some of us like Thad way in the northern part of the church, but
We donate a 7-inch screen for them.
We could ask. I can see, I'll look into it and see. I mean, maybe the other branches have
Yeah.
better facilities, so.
It's just that's my only, con on this one.
Yeah, we don't have the giant projector anymore. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, anybody, and then you can always reach out to me directly if there's any concerns on that front, but like I said, my plan is to put it out to a vote and see, and I'll look into the options. And then Red Stick Day, Joe has reserved Waddell, and we're set for March 7th, which is the first Saturday in March. Never too early to start contacting some guest speakers, some ones that popped into my mind or ones that have been discussed so far. I mean, Bailey Short, he came and spoke to the club earlier this year, but I thought that was great. And that would be amazing if we could get him. I don't know if that's during his busy season or not. I think we could afford to pay somebody a little bit.
I bet you could get the guy that spoke at the classic guy the other year. He was really good. Tony?
Oh,
Freezer? Yeah, from ASGA.
Yeah,
You
he
think?
probably would.
Okay, I think, I wanna say him and Bailey, don't they work together?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah, they had actually just the park tournament together.
yeah.
They came down for that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, him, somebody on bamboo rod making. I reached out to Harry Boyd, last year. And he said he would, but he just couldn't make it that weekend, so we can always reach out back to him, or, Gary Woodward also does that, so. That would be cool, I think. And then you mentioned earlier. Yeah, right, like North Louisiana.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a retired Baptist preacher,
Hmm.
really good guy.
he's got a real name in the rocker.
Yeah.
And the King Rockwell,
Mhm.
and, it would be just that we had if you can get it.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach it back out to him.
Yeah, I've seen one of his rods and,
Yeah, it's South Fork,
Yeah.
South Creek, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gary, right here in town, of course, and I'm a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. I've been to his house to look at his
Mhm.
setup. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I
He's
didn't
really
there. Yeah, yeah, I think he said he'd be back in town after Halloween.
Last year, you actually had a great speaker, and he didn't really speak that I'm aware of. He came as a caster, and that was Dave Barron.
Okay.
I've been trying to get close to bring Dave down for 20 years. Dave is he guided in Alaska for years and years. He lives and owns a lodge up in the Driftless area. He guides us there. He is, we have two in Louisiana, casting, board of directors, what do you call it, masters, but more than masters.
Okay.
Retired, I forgot the term, but they're,
I think it's just going.
credited as being top to top. And he was here last year with your other caster, just because he happened to be.
Okay.
But he did not speak, he did not do anything, he
Missed
is,
opportunity.
he is a phenomenal hire.
He spoke to you before, he was very good.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's, okay, with us.
Couple of years ago. He did one on, Driftless.
Okay. All right, well, yeah, put his name back in the rotation for sure, and
So, yeah,
then,
we don't always know, so Jeff Ferguson is who,
I know.
will bring the other, certified instructors. So we don't always know who it is, but, yeah, if we get the heads up, we could certainly try and
Yeah.
incorporate them in.
Dave showed good promoted in a while,
Mhm.
it was an opportunity to really use it,
Mhm.
and, he's a headliner of the headline.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, and he was here. Yeah, right now, because, but
Does Jeff still have his program going,
Who's that?
casting instructor? Jeff Ferguson.
I mean, he still does casting, yeah, yeah.
He had one time certifications anymore. Stopped.
Oh, he's not certifying other people
I think
anymore?
he stopped.
Oh, okay.
Was my understanding.
Okay.
I think Philippe might know more about that.
I haven't heard that he's doing certification.
Okay.
He's doing the coaching and spot.
Right.
And stuff, he's still left that out.
I think he was stepping away from that, the technical aspect, but he's always looking to help.
And he's
Good
been,
cast.
instrumental in all the FFIs and all that.
Yeah, he's still on the board, he's still attending the meetings, so he's still ready.
Yeah.
No,
He's
And
not
Chief
certified.
Bouchard, used to have the camp over, in Rouge. And, he's fished all over the world, casting, certified, master caster. He, moved up, I think because of his daughters, he lived up.
To Ruston.
To Ruston.
Yeah.
And so he's somebody local that you could get for not much, and he's a fabulous guy, a fabulous speaker, and it'd be good to bring him back. You would draw in people from, Lafayette and Lake Charles and stuff to come if he came too,
Okay.
so you'd draw in a lot of people.
Yeah. What about for, the November fall fling, do you think, too short notice? Yep.
Yeah, but I talked to him about that,
Okay.
he pretty, you have to, big traveling, hotel and different stuff, and
Mhm.
his wife back out and doing stuff free. So, he did not appropriate stuff. People
Well,
say,
maybe it was
"You
saying
really
more of
need
a red stick day type event.
Yeah, Red Stick
Yeah.
is big.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
he's one of the few in the world probably can certify, master casters.
Okay. Wow.
I grew up with him down the street, so I know. it
okay,
well.
all right.
But for the fall floodplain event, Jeff can't come, he's, in cruise that weekend,
Mhm.
he's sorry he couldn't make it, so in the absence of a certified caster, although we have Gary Woodward.
Yeah.
Catch and Roger. What I would like to do is try to get some folks to volunteer to man a little station, we'd have a club member at each station.
Yeah,
And,
keep the structure to it, yeah, definitely.
It's good casters and instructors here.
And I made a little flyer for that. I only printed out one copy. I think you can print stuff here to a certain extent for free with your library card, so I will try to do that before I leave, and we can maybe, I'll bring one to Rally Cap or anywhere else if anybody wants to print one off.
What is that?
November 8th, it's a Saturday,
The Alabama game.
yeah, the road game,
Nobody game.
yeah.
Another. So what was I gonna say, the.
About the courses or the,
Just we're trying to set up to have games, and
Yeah.
open it up to the public.
yeah,
Do that, and guys, you can share your websites, or
Yeah.
it's gonna ask, Catch to put some of the music flash.
yeah, right, we'll definitely try.
You know, it's fun to help, make it an annual
Mhm.
deal, have
Mhm.
it grow, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
We'll have, we're gonna have some, a course, a distance course, targets, and we're gonna do a blind casting.
Oh,
contest. It's a break point.
Perfect, break point.
Yeah, so unless anybody, that's open.
Yeah, I think that's fun.
If anybody else has suggestions for better plays, we'll be happy to move it. That's just an easy price.
Yeah, good with me.
Somebody else is, who would be coming home, so to speak, would be Rusty Dunn over at A&M. Rusty is a certified caster who started, I don't remember the name of it, some kind of casting program. And, he is, his wife was Carolyn, and Carolyn, and Rusty were fly tires. They both got certified at our event a number of years ago by General. But Carolyn passed away, and he remarried, an instructor at A&M, and so he moved over there, somebody had to move. And, again, good guy, he would talk about his casting program at the time, and, he would be a draw across South Louisiana because he's very well known and very well liked.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to you on
Good
some of these.
That must be good.
Yeah.
You guys need like any tents or anything for that?
They probably, maybe have at least one. We use that, reasonable pavilion.
Use the pavilion.
But it would also be nice to have a tent away from the pavilion on the grass side. I thought about that. And just, coffee and donuts like we did last time. We're gonna try to keep it simple.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be right. That'd be right.
Yeah, we can coordinate. I mean, that's what, about a month away. Other events, we touched briefly Kyle, the rendezvous, if you want to give a quick briefing on that, I mean, that's
We've been
end of
doing
October.
it.
till the end.
Most of you have heard about it. We've been doing it for, I don't know, 36 years, something like that. It's a regional gathering of tires primarily from Texas and Louisiana. We go up on Friday, we bring one dish for a covered meal, and, breakfast is provided, the meals are all provided from that. We've never had a dearth of food, we've always, we say we go to rendezvous to eat. The tires that show up, run the gamut from beginners to, world class. Rod Bro and I are going up together.
Okay.
We've done that many years, and if anybody else wants to go, give us a shout.
Mhm.
I think it's like $40 for the weekend.
And does that include it said that includes the lodge?
That includes lodging.
What is that lodge? Is it
The lodging,
lodge?
they have what they've got is a lodge that is a big room on one end and a commercial kitchen on the other with a big fireplace. And I forgot 20-something tables, 25 tables. And, what we do is we set all those tables up, and whereas you normally, let me finish. I've got 5 cabins that have 30, 40 bunk beds and 30 bunk beds. And, the cabins, there's one for single women, there's one for couples, which sometimes is not occupied. There's one for snoring men, there's one for families, and there's one for non-snorers. And inevitably, some snore, so that's worked for many years. Sometimes the women's won't be occupied, or the family, or the couples won't be occupied, and you can have a whole damn cabin to yourself. I've done that. But there's a central bath, hot water, showers, clean. There's a bath in the lodge. I mean, restroom in the lodge, and the food is always good, but whereas you go to most events that you go to Thai and you watch somebody. You know, I was presentation Thai, I've been doing it for 40 years almost, but you go and I'm Thai and people watch me and I give them flies and we talk. At Rendezvous, you bring your vice. And if you don't have a vice, somebody will loan you one, and you set it up across from him and you tie with him. And then you go, oh, I want to go tie with this person. You pick up your stuff and you go tie with them, and you go tie with as many people or as few people as you want. And you'll walk away. If you go over there, a beginner or novice tire, you can walk away after 2 days. Really, really good. Historically, most of the people were invited, most of the people there. It just worked out after you came several years, you were good enough. You learned so much and you became a demonstration tire at shows. And so that's how a lot of people became demonstration tires, is going to events like that. And we've had people who came in, never tied a fly, and after their second year of Rendezvous, were invited to go tie a Southern Council or something. And so it's a wonderful, relaxed weekend. We say there's no rules. If you want to go fish, go fish. You don't have to sell flies. If you want to hike the park and do that kind of stuff, do that. Bring your wife, bring your kids, and come have a good time. So, you know, the weather's wonderful. And we do it, and there's a reason we've been doing it it's been going on all this time. I was telling them, when we first found the camp, the lodge, we asked them how much. We went up to the office was open that Saturday. We went up there and asked them how much it was. They said, oh, it's expensive. We said, we had 35 people there, campsites at $10 a campsite. And they said, I said, well, how much is expensive? They went, oh, it's $215 for the lodge and all of that. And we said, we'll take it. And we've been doing it ever since.
What are the dates? It's last weekend in October.
So it's, you get up there usually anytime afternoon on Friday, and tile day Friday, tile day Saturday. And Sunday morning is basically just, we go eat breakfast and like this, we pick everything up, sweep it out and leave. I'm back here sometimes about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So it doesn't, you've still got your Sunday evenings and, but it's you'll meet a lot of people from across 2 or 3 states and, sit down and talk with them. It's great. Fred Dupree's supposed to be there again this year, another musical woman. And Fred is phenomenal. And, I can go on for hours.
All right, well, thank you. One other quick thing, Dugan just brought this to my attention. I've been seeing stuff flashing around on it, but the Menhaden hoagie boats seem to be kind of running afoul of the restrictions that were put on them. So November 6th in Baton Rouge at Wildlife and Fisheries, I guess there's a public hearing. I don't see a time, but I imagine it's sometime in the morning. But this was from CCA. Dugan, yeah. So CCA, I'm sure Catch has some information on his site too. I think that's where I first saw it.
Just stuff on Facebook page.
Yeah,
It'll be the Joe Harry room where we used to be.
right. Main headquarters. November 6th. Which would be a Thursday, I guess. Farther out, January 26th, Skeeter's not here, but we'll put something out for this at No Wake. They're calling it Hair Fest or Fur Fest or something like that. The guy that was at the classic with all the deer hair and stuff is gonna be at No Wake, and they're gonna do kind of a tying demonstration, kind of show, you know, flies that use badger fur, flies that use all these exotic. I think give you a kind of a reason to maybe look at some of his stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's
Um,
on
And then January 24th in Pineville, outside of Alexandria, is going to be the Sinloff Fly Fishing Festival, similar to our Red Stick Day, but that's the Kisatchie Club's event. So you can mark your calendars for that. And then the December banquet, just a heads up, everybody, we're not going to be meeting here in December. We'll be at Broadmoor Methodist, where we used to hold meetings and where we've done the banquet the last several years. We'll have Jambalaya Challenge awards and potluck.
Is there a date for that?
It would be the regular day,
The 8th.
the 8th.
No.
Uh,
Hey, David.
So get your best digital apps and make a plan. We'll be there.
we'll bring the water and the ice is there and plates and the tablecloths and silverware and all cups and all that stuff, so we just need to bring the food and something to serve it with. Stove or fork, whatever, depending on what you're bringing.
Do you want to bring a sign-up sheet to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Since y'all are rattling off dates, anybody knows when the dates for the closed flounder season is?
Feel like it was maybe mid-October, I mean, it might be soon, right?
I think it's now to the end of November.
Yeah.
Now to the end of November.
All right, unless anyone else has any club business to discuss, I can begin the presentation.
There's a lot.
And we have next meeting, we don't have a guest speaker. I was gonna do the elections and we can start talking about Red Stick Day and just other general business, so. Thank you. All right, I am the guest speaker. We had lined up the bass wildlife manager from Wildlife and Fisheries, but he couldn't make it, so. We promised bass, we're gonna give you bass. I can make this small. That's down.
Probably call more fast than that dude anyway. So you're gonna be the speaker for him, you're gonna have the same topic?
No, he was like the lead wildlife. This is my own presentation.
But you're still gonna talk about fishing.
It's bad.
He's real, Brian really catch him, you gotta use an electroshock.
I can catch as many bass in a creek, with the electroshock
They
machine.
call him the electric.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna talk about fly fishing for spotted bass and pretty specific to creek wading in Louisiana. Quick show of hands, has anybody in this room done this before? Good,
What do we do?
good amount of
This
people.
kind of fish.
Creek wading for
Oh, yeah.
spotted bass specifically. All right, so just a quick overview of spotted bass. It's Micropterus punctatatus. It's endemic to the Mississippi River Basin. It's part of a spotted bass complex, so it's very closely related to Alabama bass, which are in the Mobile drainage, and then Choctaw bass, which are a kind of a newer species, are in the Florida Panhandle, and then also similar to Guadalupe bass in Texas. So,
So are they all typically similar?
Yes.
yeah, I don't think you could tell. I mean, you can maybe Guadalupe. You can't really tell them apart by just looking at them. Yeah, and they all kind of look like that. We'll go into species identification a little bit.
Is there any overlap range, or are they so
Um,
competitive that if one gets in the range of the other, they just knock the other one out?
I think there's probably overlap in Texas. The Alabama bass are pretty aggressive in terms of like outpopulating or outcompeting other fish. They have problems with smallmouth, well, not smallmouth, but red eye and like shoal bass and kind of all the ones that are more up around here in the upland area of Georgia and all that, the Alabama bass. And it's actually been kind of transported to other places up in Virginia and stuff, and they're not good if they get in there.
What's the orange on the back of the left?
This is just spotted bass, and so this is older, so it's got the Alabama bass carved out, but it still classifies the Choctaw bass as a spotted bass, because that's only like the last 10 years.
Looks like they put the South Louisiana in there, and there's nothing on South Louisiana on the other map.
Well, the blue is just like locations where they,
There's none in the spillway, like.
Like registered, yeah.
yeah, this is from a study that was delineating the different species. So these are all like survey locations. So, I mean, they could technically be in any of this area, but that's just where the good habitat is, where fish were sampled, basically.
Well, the reason why I ask is because the people catch marsh bass down in the lower part of Louisiana, you know, so that's.
Those are gonna be largemouth bass. Yeah. Yeah, the spotted bass are
Do they-
more in moving, swift moving waters, but they can be in impoundments like Toledo Bend.
They're full swing bass.
So do they not catch the spotted bass down in those marshes?
I wouldn't think so, no. In terms of Louisiana,
So the yellow map is inaccurate, the orange map's inaccurate, go with it.
yeah, I mean, that's the rain, that's just watersheds, but yeah, it's really,
It's, the watershed can be anywhere within,
Is like, the lake I grew up on, this in south of Shreveport, southeast of Shreveport, it's full of both cats.
Yeah, they play well.
yeah. So yeah, Randy, I mean, the dots here are kind of more where the good habitat would be, whereas this is like a theoretical, they could be in this area.
first style on the left, which goes at with the technical, it's like a puck level, there's a different levels of watershed. And
So.
that's just a more overall view.
Yeah.
Whereas the one on the right is using actual locations where it's surveyed.
Right.
So yeah, it's gonna be more accurate, but that's the style you'll see in research papers now is the surveyed locations. Which you can get your watershed based off of the surveyed location now, and that's probably more accurate than the one on the left.
And there are places, I mean, not in the marsh, but I'm sure if we were to zoom in, there are places, there are spotted bass that weren't surveyed, it wouldn't be a blue dot, but they are more common, and this talk is gonna be specific to the ones that are found in creeks. So they like moving water, they can be found in impoundments, which is kind of dissimilar to, I think, red eye bass in Alabama and other places don't really do well in impoundments, but again, I've never caught one out of a lake or a impoundment. They're pretty aggressive and hard fighting, especially in the creeks. I don't know if it's just like they're opportunistic kind of ambush predators. But I mean, they fight hard. I would say anybody would tell you they pound for pound fight a little harder than a largemouth. I think they're often overlooked and there's kind of low fishing pressure. I mean, I know we all probably fish for them some, but I mean, personally, I've never run across another angler. I mean, maybe once and they weren't fly fishing. So definitely kind of a cool opportunity to get out and, fish to some fish that are really pretty aggressive. You don't have to go out first thing in the morning. In my experience, they'll bite just as good in the middle of the day as they will, first thing. I've never actually gone out and fished at dawn. I just wait. I say, I mean, it's probably a year-round fishery. I usually, February, I've never put on waders and gone out when the water's cold. I just will wait till spring. But I know some of the guys that I talked to that we fished with at Old River this summer, fished for red eye bass and Alabama bass in Alabama, and they say that the bigger ones are caught like during the winter, but they're fishing from a raft and they're not getting in the water so much. So I don't know that I would put waders on to try and go catch a big one. And then, December, January, I'm kind of hesitant also because it's hunting season. So depending on where you are, you probably won't run into any hunters, but some of these spots, if you happen upon a deer hunter, they might get pretty mad. So identification, the key is the tooth patch on the tongue, and I tried to highlight it in these pictures. So comparing them to a largemouth, I mean, if you catch a largemouth, and I'll have an example of this, they can look pretty similar, especially if they're in a creek and in clear water. The color pattern will look very similar, but the defining characteristic is going to be this tooth patch. It's kind of like a darker olive color, about the size of maybe a wide grain of rice or a Tic Tac or something. So that one's in there. And then the dark row of spots, it's not just a few spots here and there, but it's defined rows under the lateral line are the key ways I can tell. There's also, supposedly there's less of a dip in between these two fins, or they're kind of connected, whereas the largemouth, they're distinct. That is just really hard to tell, especially if the fish aren't mature. And the size of the mouth, again, a small largemouth bass, its mouth, like you're not going to be able to say it extends well past the eye. So really the tooth patch is the defining characteristic. If you catch something and you're questionable about what it is, that's really the surefire way to tell.
There, you'll know instantly.
Yeah, and it's a rough patch too, in addition to the color. So this is from a recent trip. I actually caught these two fish in the same exact spot. So this is a largemouth and this is a spotted bass. I got a picture of the largemouth with no tooth patch. And you can see, like I said, the color, they both, sometimes the strong lateral line is, well, I see that and I think, oh, it's spotted bass. And I initially did when I caught this one, but then, I saw he didn't really have the row of dark spots. You can see there's some splotches, there's no rows. And again, this one has those defined rows. And again, they cohabitate in some of these creeks. You can catch them out of the exact same spot, behaving the exact same way.
The mandibular is an easy one too, on the outside, it goes past the eye of the large mouth, and it's just right there. At the
But
base
see,
of the
again,
eye.
this, I mean, it's still,
It's really hard.
it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really hard in June, sure.
So again, these are quick flowing creeks and streams. I mean, if you've never been to one of these places, they're really beautiful, especially this time of year when it gets a little bit cooler out. It's a little more comfortable. I mean, we haven't had much rain. I mean, your yard is nice and dry, like go out because that's when the creeks get low and clear. And I'll talk a little bit about water clarity. That's not the be all end all, but usually it makes for better fishing. And you just run across some beautiful sights. So some of this is more just scenery than anything else,
It
but
don't have to be that fast flowing. Pretty lazy.
yeah, right. The current isn't going to be, like rapids you have to worry about. But I mean, I have found that the fish tend to gravitate towards the faster moving water, even if you're in a slower moving stream. If there's something that's forcing a quick current around it, it's usually a good spot.
Where's this at from?
Can't tell you. I give you tips on how to find the place. but Not gonna.
Not right now.
Hey,
I don't want to take the fun of the exploration away from you. But yeah, so
Walk 20 miles in for that.
sandy banks, big clay walls in a lot of the bends, and then if you've got laydowns, that's usually some good fish structure there.
Anywhere with Florida there.
Yeah.
All of them.
So yeah, and like I said, and sometimes the farther away you get from the car, the prettier it gets. You just want to keep going, and then you realize you waded downstream and it was really easy. When you start having to go back upstream into the current, you kind of wish you hadn't gone that far. But yeah, again, creek bends, if you see that wall, usually I've got some more close-up pics, but that's a good place because there'll sometimes be an indentation in the wall. The current will be flowing pretty fast. Then there's a bass just sitting right in that pocket. And this is a really slower, deeper section, but I mean, you maybe catch a bass, but you're more likely to catch a sunfish. The sunfish will be in really slow water. So these are some clay wall kind of examples. This is like a very steep defined wall right here, and you can't really see from the photo, but any little indentation and like there's vegetation right above it. You'll hear fish hit stuff, something falls in, they're just gonna pounce on it. So
Are you using like dry flies? Pellets?
yeah, so I'm gonna go through all that. Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, it really, I mean, if the water's clear, I've caught them on basically almost any fly that I've tried has worked.
They're pretty hungry.
It depends what you just want to do that day more than anything. I mean, other good spots, a lot of times you've got trees overhanging, and that's usually, good cover too. So it also gives you opportunities to try like different types of casts. I mean, trying to get something all the way up to the bank when the tree is hanging out like 8 feet. The goal is to not get it stuck too much, so you don't have to wade in there and get it and blow up the hole, but.
Use all those flies, you never catch anything on it.
Yeah, exactly.
All those flies.
I actually have never tried a Concordia special, so maybe next time. I think this is kind of a textbook spot. I think this is where I caught those two, the spotted and the largemouth in the same spot. I mean, can't really tell, but the current's flowing pretty good around this log. There's trees overhanging. This pool is somewhat deep, and cast a streamer in there. They race each other towards it, and then they try to bite the other fish when he gets hooked. So, how do you find these places?
Yeah.
So the area that we're focusing on is Louisiana. This extends, the whole premise extends well up into Mississippi. So there's nothing about the state line that affects the fishing besides just having to get a fishing license. So, and I'm not, Thompson Creek, Bayou Sarah, there are in there too, but there is quicksand.
No, none of those are there.
Bayou Sarah is notorious for its quicksand, and even up in the Homachido. What's the road? Yeah, I think people have died from that quicksand. Something about the rivers. I'm not joking. You read about like canoe trips and stuff. Like if you get off at a sandbar, yes.
Never seen that meme, like, oh, quicksand,
Quicksand is real. If you've waited in Bayou Sarah after a rain, I mean, I've never had too scary, but you will go from wading in ankle deep water to being this deep in it sometimes. And that is not a problem that I've encountered in any of the ones that flow down in like.
Stay awake.
I do stay awake.
So I think a lot of that is like springs underneath the ground.
Yeah,
Where it's
okay.
coming up
Yeah.
and that fluidized sand.
After a rain, it can pop up anywhere. I've done this.
Yeah, I've never had it as bad.
Just can't have mass above it.
So anyway, we've got major rivers, and then I'm usually talking about creeks that are tributaries to these major rivers. I mean, the Comey is called a river, but for all intents and purposes, it's kind of the size of some of the creeks that we're gonna look at in these pictures. But you've got the Tickfaw, the Tangipahoa, the Tchefuncta, the Bogachido. So the bigger rivers are pretty not great for wading. I mean, they're pretty wide. They do get somewhat deep in with the current. It's just, you can't, I don't know. I've never gone to one and said, oh, I can just wade fish there. You can float them. So yeah, the Bogachido especially has a couple of tubing and kayak rental companies or kayak pedal companies. And Bogachido State Park has plenty of frontage. If you wanted to bring your own kayak, they offer a shuttle there too sometimes. So those are best handled by floating. But when we're looking for creeks, you know, basically if you're starting with this whole area, find the rivers on the satellite. And then if you see a tributary of one of the bigger rivers that looks something like this, where it's not all sandy banks, like the big rivers are just gonna have sand all over the banks, be very wide, but this one, you can see in the bends, there's some sandbars, but there's some sections where there isn't any sand, and that's gonna be kind of where those trees are hanging over, so, you know, that's kind of what you're looking for on the satellite imagery. Quick disclaimer, I am making no representations regarding the legality of any activity described in this presentation.
Good disclaimer.
Because Louisiana water laws or trespassing laws are such that it's, you know, technically if it's a navigable waterway, you can be inside the high water mark or whatever. But the surest way to tell that you won't be harassed or bothered, well, first, you know, obey any no parking or no trespassing signs, but if you see on your satellite view that there's a bridge, you're pretty much always going to be accessing these things at bridge crossings. Like this is like a four-wheeler kind of track trail. If you spot that on the satellite map, and then you can go to Google Street View and see, like, okay, I don't see any like giant fences. I don't see any like big no trespassing signs. It looks like you could park a car here. The vegetation is somewhat cleared out. That pretty much means that it gets used regularly enough, and that, you know, it's kind of, I say, open for fishing. And I've never really ran into any problems kind of following this rule of thumb. So, yeah, again, that's.
Why is that if someone asks you to leave, you leave?
Just leave, yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm not gonna bury in jail. And another thing, if you would pick up some trash, you do, sometimes you'll see a lot of litter at these places, unfortunately. So if you can do our part to clean it up, maybe they won't get closed off. So water flows, again, right now, it's been really dry. You really don't have to kind of worry about it, but say it's like spring, or maybe it's one of the times of year, just summer, where we're getting a little bit more rain. You know, none of these places are like right by my house that I can drive over and check the water. So if I'm gonna make a trip, having the most information on hand before you get in the car and drive an hour plus. And again, these places can be anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours away. I mean, if the conditions are right, I don't mind driving 2 hours one way to do this. But I don't want to do that if I think maybe there's a chance that the water is a little bit off. So ideally, if there is a USGS gauge that shows gauge height or water flow or any of that type of stuff, that's ideal. This is the Comite River here in Baton Rouge from last week. We did get a bit of rain when that last front came through, so it didn't bump up a lot, but it went up a little bit, and you can see it started slowly trickling down. I mean, ideally, you want to wait till it's flat lined for like 3 or 4 days before the water gets crystal clear. I've gone days where it's kind of like, okay, the water level dropped, but it just dropped, and the water it's off color. And until this year, I had never caught any fish, but I did make a trip this year and catch some. So there's ways to fish that type of water. Really, you just have to, like, they can't. There's maybe 6 inches to a foot of visibility. You mean, just like I plopped poppers on some of those really obvious spots, like as hard as I could, and I mean, voracious strikes, but like they weren't, I couldn't get any to follow a streamer. They probably just couldn't see it. So, but I mean, just if you can wait till the water kind of flattens out. If there's not a flow gauge, and maybe if it's a smaller creek, you probably could get away with just like assuming, okay, it hasn't rained in this area in 5 to 7 days. So there's a website, whether it's on weather.gov, but search for, I don't know, historical precipitation map or something like that. You can pull up this map and it's got toggles, last 2 days, 3, 4. So this is the last 7 days of precipitation. So, if I saw, okay, it looks like it rained well over the Tangipahoa watershed, maybe I'll stick closer this way, or maybe I'll go farther and fish farther east of it. So that's just another tool to use, like I said, maybe save yourself from making a long drive and finding some off-color water. Like I said, you can kind of toggle that. So like, oh, it looks like it rained a lot, but if that was 7 days ago, and then you click on the last 5 days, and it clears off, then okay, well, it rained 7 days ago, but that was like a whole week ago. Maybe it's cleared up by now. So those are 2 of the things I use if I'm making a longer trip. What do they eat? Crawfish, frogs, bait fish. I'm sure rodents, anything that's going to fall in the water. I mean, I think they'll eat anything. We've got a crawfish claw. They'll eat a piece of foam. So crawfish. There are shiners in these waters that you can catch. That's a striped shiner. This is a blackbill shiner that ate a fly. I'm fishing with flies, but I do catch shiners.
But unfortunate.
Why would you want to put it on live bait when you can catch them on a piece of craft foam with googly eyes glued onto it? Frogs. So I caught this one this year. I mean, the frog leg and his belly was fat. This is a fat one, but now I realize that there was like a whole giant frog in its belly. So yeah, diver flies do a pretty good imitation of frogs. Like I mentioned earlier, pretty much anything. It kind of just depends on what you feel like throwing that day, what weight rod you feel like bringing, what you just tied. The key piece of equipment is going to be some good shoes. The thing you're trying to avoid is just getting rocks under your feet. So like Chacos, Crocs, you won't go more than like 10 steps without wanting to just not walk anymore. So an old pair of tennis shoes would probably work. I've been using these Orvis wading shoes for years and years without any problem. I mean, they're not as cheap as a pair of tennis shoes. Yeah, probably going on sale soon.
Months later,
But yeah, a good pair of tennis shoes or high tops would probably work. I mean, these are nice because they have a gravel guard type thing. So.
Oh, those are on there without even.
So yeah, I also wear a neoprene sock, like a 2 or 3 millimeter or one. It's again, that's more for like sand. It's not, the water does feel refreshingly cool when you get in every time, but it's not cold to the point of needing the waders or needing the neoprene for warmth. But I wear like cotton athletic socks and then the neoprene sock and then the shoe. So I won't get rocks in the shoe because it's got this big lip thing, but you'll get sand in your shoe. But because you have the neoprene sock on, you don't really feel it. So if you were just to wear tennis shoes and athletic socks, you might get a few small rocks and you might just start feeling like sand piling up at your toes, and you can empty them out every now and then. But if you're gonna do that, and you can wear, I've brought these shoes, they're small, much smaller than wading boots. Like I brought these up to Seattle a couple of years ago just because I didn't feel like packing wading boots and I was fishing colder water. I mean, you can fit your wader booties into these, so in a pinch, if you need kind of a lightweight wading boot, I mean, they have just rubber grips, but small fly pack and like one fly box. I mean, I bring these big fly boxes with hundreds of flies and I'll use like these two. So you don't need all that.
Never gives it.
Yeah, so
I always bring the whole thing.
yeah, you never know. Sometimes. But yeah, being able to bring water, I mean, more importantly, just be able to carry a big bottle of water because you know, it feels good out there, but you'll still sweat during the summer. I used to bring a small camera or something, some bug spray, sunscreen, a buff. I've never had any issues with animals or never seen any people, so I don't bring any form of weaponry or anything. But if you'd like to do that kind of stuff, feel free. I have seen some hogs before and I've turned around. Yeah, you see snakes, but I've never had any come at me or anything. I've seen a couple hogs and they've come down, not come down, but I turned around one time. I saw one. That already caught a
You
big.
mentioned bug spray.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, EPA has a list of approved, you know, what they've approved because they work. They don't have, and, everybody thinks that DEET is the gold standard, but DEET is oily and DEET is a plasticizer, so it'll ruin your fly line.
Sunglasses too.
And your sunglasses and anything plastic.
And your watch.
But you can buy picaridin as the active ingredient. It's not oily, it doesn't stink, and it's not a plasticizer, and it works just as well as DEET.
If it's toxic, however, so do not get it in your mouth.
Well, that's all of them.
No, it's not all. But
Yeah.
it's after we
They all takes care of. But if you,
I never really have bug issues. I mean, I just say just good to have. I usually wear a buff, but like, you know, the mosquitoes aren't out there. I don't know. They're in the standing water. We're not fishing standing water. So, I mean, I have more problems with gnats fishing for redfish and stuff than I have out here, but always good to have. Fishing gear, I've been liking a 6-weight lately. But I mean, anything from a 3 to an 8-weight, depends on just what you want to do, what size fly you want to throw. If you're fishing a really small, this is a Shadow Creek rod. This is Shadow Creek.
Oh,
that's. You can look at it, it's on all the maps. If you're fishing a really small creek, sometimes a shorter rod is nice to kind of get under stuff or just to not, sometimes these things have canopies that you're walking under. This one certainly doesn't, it's nice and open. But yeah, shorter 3-weight, like a 7-foot or something can be fun if you're fishing smaller flies. If you want to throw big bass bug, poppers and stuff, bring an 8-weight, still just as fun to catch them on that. You don't need a long leader, so 7-foot or so. And then I put heavy tippet, but that's more because I'm usually fishing popper. I mean, if you're gonna fish a popper, just tie on 0X or 12-pound or whatever. You can bend the hook out if you get it caught in a limb. You don't break as many flies off. They're not leader shy. So unless you're trying to get down, which you don't always necessarily have to do, you don't really need to go lightweight on your tippet. And again, I like this fly box or this fly pack, 'cause it's got a little fly patch right there on top, so. So top wise, and this is again, you could probably do almost anything, but the ones that I've had success with over the years, deer hair bugs, divers work pretty good. If you have a smaller, lighter weight rod that you want to use, the Chubby Chernobyl, which is also a really, really good trout fly, works great. It's like a terrestrial pattern, floats high, it's made of foam, easily visible with the big wing. I have found in terms of top water that Usually a more subtle presentation is better than trying to make the biggest splash possible. I mean, that was a little bit different when I fished the dirty water the other day, but usually, I mean, I've caught some bigger fish just trying to dead drift, the chubby Chernobyl. The Master Splinter is a very subtle topwater. This is a pretty small, I mean, it's much smaller than a foam popper like that. But that tail kind of wiggles. It makes a little bit of a wake, but it's not a big splash. And it makes a nice splat when it hits the water. Yeah, and this is another opportunity, going back to fishing the chubby Chernobyl with like a drag-free drift. If you have a trip coming up and you know, you're going to fish for trout or somewhere up in the east or the west in the mountains, and you just kind of want to practice your mins and stuff like that, you can do all that stuff on these creeks because the water acts the same way. You're going to have different current speeds. And the fish do sometimes, I mean, bass are certainly way less picky about drag-free drifts than trout, but I mean, you will have fish that will follow your fly downstream and decide to not take it sometimes. So it's good to get the practice in for the frustration in that case. This year I've been doing pretty good and I've been enjoying unweighted streamers. And so these are kind of deer hair. They're almost like divers, but they're cut, the deer hair is cut way shorter. And so in this case, this is called a mini Sid. The hook is actually bent a little bit at the front, so that nose kind of acts a little bit like a crankbait or something. And then of course the rabbit tail just goes crazy. So I mean, short strips or kind of rod tip twitches on this thing. I mean, you can make it dance around without the fly's not moving a whole lot, so you can kind of stay in the strike zone, but the fly is moving all over the place. And I've had some just come out and annihilate it. And this is a Zoo Cougar, a Kelly Gallup pattern, very similar concept. Short trimmed deer hair head with the marabou tail. And it's got a lot of similar movement, just a lot of, it moves a lot without you having to like strip the fly across a lot of water, because these creeks are kind of small. You know, you're not fishing a 6-foot stretch of water trying to find the fish. You're fishing like 1 or 2 feet. So you can't really just like expect to throw a fly all the way across the creek, you know, strip it back, have the whole creek to get some movement out of the fly and hope something comes up somewhere in the middle. It's usually going to be in that first couple feet. And this is a Murdich minnow. I think we've tied this with the club one time, but it's again unweighted, very simple fly. It's just flashy. You can see it really easily, and you can cast it on like a 5 weight because it's just all synthetic material for the most part. It doesn't hold a lot of water. This one you can cast on a 5 weight because the deer hair does soak up a little water, but again, it's trimmed pretty slim, so there's not that much of it. The rabbit tail will soak up a little bit of water, but they're pretty aerodynamic, so it's not like trying to cast a big deer hair bass bug where it's just fighting the air. Like they kind of fly through the air, and the tail absorbing some water actually helps in that regard because it's got some weight to it. So you can kind of throw those out there with a lighter rod. And
You're mostly not shooting 30-foot casts.
no, they're short casts. Yeah. Yeah.
Just kind of flop right
Right.
there.
And so again, you can probably throw any of these on a 5 weight. Sometimes it's, you know, if you don't want to just have to put that extra effort in, just use a heavier fly line. That's good. Weighted streamers. The Crelex is a pretty popular one that I've caught some fish on. It gets down really fast because it's just lead eyes and a bunch of flash. So if you come upon a log that's deep and you want to try and fish under the log, again, you don't have a lot of time to get it down before the current's dragging. So that one works pretty well. Any crawfish fly. This is the near enough cray. I had been fishing a lot of the articulated streamers for these before, but I got to the point where I was kind of tying them so small, they ended up being about the same size as the single hook ones, and the bass always eat the whole thing. So
2 flies.
2 fly, I've never tried a 2 fly, but that'd probably work too. So yeah, again, kind of just depends on what you've been tying lately, what you feel like throwing. I've had equal amounts of success on most of these patterns.
The shady account would work.
Haven't tried the shady account. Again, that's a little large, but I'm sure they would go for it. But yeah, the unweighted streamer this year has been fun. Darren Lee from, the Acadiana group turned me onto that mini Sid pattern. He said that's what he's been using. He fishes all the creeks over there by like Opelousas and stuff. He said that thing killer, and it is. I mean, I can't explain. There's nothing like when the water's clear and these things will hunt the fly down and just like kill it. I mean,
Look
it's
up.
pretty fun to watch. And so it's a visual type of fishing too, because the water's clear. So I mean, there's top water eats, which are always fun, but like casting the fly and kind of making it dance and then seeing one just kind of come out of nowhere and get it, or seeing multiple, like you will see, because there's only so much really, really good holding water in some of these smaller creeks. The fish will team up and try and like race to your fly. So
The last
fun to watch.
30 years, one of the best, smallmouth crawfish is Dwayne Hayes.
Creek crawler.
And, they're not that hard to tie, there's
Yeah.
a lot of instructions on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Dwayne talk about that and
Look out for that.
the weighted fly, but I mean, he's like tying on a super long leader and you gotta fish it like a jig. I mean, he's trying to fish deep water and this, you just, I don't know, you can get them a little bit deeper, but you have to fish them, some of these weighted ones so fast, they're only a few inches deeper than the unweighted ones. So for these small creeks, I just haven't found much benefit. I mean, if you're trying to go after some other species of fish and really get down by a brush pile, sometimes the weighted ones can help, but, I haven't really found the need to try and like fish the bottom. If you were in some of the rivers maybe and floating, that'd probably be a really good option too. But with the creeks, it's a foot or two of water.
Does your rusty sparrow? Oh, is that?
Rusty sparrow. Yeah, and I didn't cover, I mean, woolly buggers, anything, again, depends on the size of fly line you're throwing. I've just been kind of sticking to more 6 to 8 weight stuff lately.
Is that a dungeon?
What's that?
Is it a dungeon?
Yeah, this is yeah, Kelly Gallup Sex Dungeon. So two hooks on this one, but again, it's probably only 4 inches long or something. Mini dungeon, but
No, you strip it like string, you strip, it's a string.
let's see. I've kind of gone through all this.
The biggest thing.
Biggest? I don't know. I think I have on the next slide one that's probably close to it. Again, I've kind of gone over this, but just more holding water. Anytime you see the clay bank is a really, really good, even because you might think, oh, well, I don't see a log there. There's no, that's just a straight shot of bank. There couldn't possibly be a fish there, but any indentation, see at the end of this thing, the creek's flowing this way, little indentation. I mean, if you throw right there, it's almost guaranteed. This is a wall that's got a log, especially in logs that are running parallel to the current. I mean, the fish can be stacked up anywhere right alongside them and come out. I've had some fun eats, like out in the middle of a creek that's really nice and clear. Log in the middle, you can kind of throw it on top and then you watch the fish swim out from under it and come out and get it. So any wood is always good. But yeah, those clay walls have kind of something I overlooked at first, but it's been good spots. So yeah, this bin is probably like a larger one to catch. I mean, this is like a decent size. Certainly you catch smaller than that, but this is a nice one. Usually on a trip, I'll catch 1 or 2 nice ones, maybe not quite that nice, 3 or 4 decent, and then, a couple of little tiny ones, depending on how I'm fishing.
I would consider anything over a pound big.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't bring a scale, but that's probably a pound. But yeah, if there's a lay down, a root ball with like some deeper water, that's where I call this one, is back here. Just this isn't a clay bank, but a straight bank that has some overhanging vegetation is always good. That would be a good place to just try and dead drift something like Shrubby Chernobyl. If you can get a drag-free drift just all the way along that bank, there could be one hiding under some of those reeds. And then again, I'm mostly focusing on creek fishing, but rivers, if you can get a kayak. I mean, this is the Bogachita. I did a float. I paid one of those. I paid one of the shuttle companies and I shuttled. But you can see how much larger this is compared to these creeks. I mean,
Black Creek, is a decent
what is it?
float to Black Creek, which is up
In Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Mhm. Yeah, and they do like canoe
Yeah.
trips
they do.
there and
Yeah,
stuff.
they run canoes and everything. And that creek is small enough, there's a lot of laydowns and whatnot, it's pretty good.
But yeah, so these is just way more, and it's like, okay, you could wade out to here, but then it might be 2 feet deep and the water's moving pretty good, you know, just not as easy to fish. But in a kayak, the one thing I'll say is just bring an anchor, because especially when you're so used to creek fishing, being able to hit any one of these spots multiple times and try casting to it, by the time you get the kayak pointed the right way and your rod in your hand, you're already like past the thing you wanted to fish, so.
At the very least, bring a rope so you can tie it.
Or tie off. But yeah, if you bring it,
Tie it to you or tie it.
if you bring a small anchor, you can drop the anchor and just sit in the middle and then have your time, just part. We don't have that. But then you can actually work some of the stuff and actually put down a few presentations, because yeah, this trip, I don't think that was maybe the first one, I didn't bring an anchor and I just thought I'd passed up all the fish. The fish, I just couldn't make a good presentation. So that's all I'll say about that. Yeah, this was in Mississippi, the Bogachita. I did have an anchor this time, I think, so. There are some options west of the Mississippi River. This is Kisatchie Bayou in the Kisatchie National Forest. I'll name drop all the ones on the west side.
I've done well there.
But yeah, I mean, I caught a lot of like the really short but chunky ones there. But this kind of opens up, you know, if you get into the river bass fishing thing, it kind of opens up some trips that are closer to home that aren't as far as trout trips. So, you know, if you want to get a long weekend trip in, but don't feel like catching a flight or don't feel like driving super far anywhere, and like plenty of places in Arkansas or Mississippi or Alabama to go. This was at the Little Mo when we went a few years ago during the cold water trip. Brought my kayak and we went up above Lake Greethen in the Little Missouri River. Happened to time it just right with the water conditions, and the white bass were running. I was trying to get up way far to catch a nice smallmouth, but I mean, I caught a bunch of really nice spotted bass. Yeah, again, red eye bass are in Alabama, and you've got smallmouth bass up in Alabama as well. Not sure where all these from. This is Arkansas. That's Ouachita National Forest, smallmouth. I think this is in Alabama, northern smallmouth. That's a red eye bass. So again, all the same tactics and tips are very similar for these. If you can find another creek somewhere else, I would encourage anybody, if you're going to be in one of these areas and you're going to do some fishing, don't overlook the bass that are in the moving water.
Eat any of them?
Do I eat any of them? No.
Kill.
I'd rather just stop and pick up something on the way home.
You better get some bass. Rather than get some bass.
And yeah, Texas Guadalupe bass, and that's a Choctaw bass. So last year I almost was able to do the spotted bass complex slam. I caught our spotted bass, the Guadalupe bass, and the Choctaw bass, but I was in Alabama for a golf trip and I had one quick stop to try and catch an Alabama bass. I saw some, but I couldn't get any to bite, so I almost did
You
it.
missed the bass bite.
For that year?
No,
or
that's
that-
out of all the species.
Oh, I've only caught a couple of the red eye. I've never caught a shoal bass.
A shadow bass?
It's a different type of bass.
You're the pastor. I mean,
Not this year.
river bass, I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
it's not.
You will catch, yeah, there's another type of sunfish that you will encounter, and I didn't cover other species of fish you'll catch here in Louisiana, but long-eared sunfish are plentiful in these creeks as well. And again, usually the slower moving water in any of these similar spots is good cover. If it looks like the water's not moving at all, there's probably gonna be loaded with sunfish. You usually have to throw flies on the smaller side than I'm throwing, to catch sunfish, but there are shadow bass, which is related to a rock bass, which people will catch rock bass, and they're trying to catch small eyes.
call red eye bass here.
Small eyes,
They call red eye bass here.
right. So those can be tricky. They're usually gonna be like right in a log or a gnarly root ball or something with some current flow by it. But I've been trying to catch one really hard and I haven't caught one this year. Brought that up, sore subject.
But you're trying to, wait.
Shadow bass, I can't catch one this year. I caught it. Not in the spot, right in any of the spots. that I've caught. Any questions? All right, well, thanks for listening. Hope you guys learned something. And then, if there's no further business, I motion to adjourn. You guys can hang out. All right, adjourned.
It's like the law.
Yeah, I remember that, Brian.